Welcome to the With Purpose podcast. I'm Karen.
And I'm Chrissy.
Life is full of ups and downs, but through it all, there is purpose.
A purpose that encourages us, strengthens us, and ultimately glorifies the Lord.
Let's walk this journey together on purpose, with purpose. Welcome back, everyone, to the With Purpose podcast with Chrissy and Karen. We're so excited for today's episode. It's a little different. We're going to be answering your questions. And the questions are good.
Yeah.
They are really, really good. But before we get into today's episode, we just want to take a moment to thank all of the listeners that have reached out to us via email or our Instagram. How this podcast has encouraged you, hearing your stories, and we're just so grateful. Keep them coming. We've even heard that some of you have bought the book, the devotional book, and it's so awesome that you guys are going to study that with us. So please keep them coming. Let's get straight into today's episode.
Yeah, I'm so excited. Like, it was cool to see the questions coming in, and just as they come in, to kind of start formulating an answer or some thoughts.
Some of them are quite interesting. So juicy. But we'll try our best. Hey?
Yeah, just from our perspective and the things we can answer. Yeah, so it's quite a wide range. There's some personal questions, there's some more theological questions. So it's quite a wide range.
Yeah.
First question: how to stay consistent in your walk with Christ? Sure, I think different seasons will have you do different things to stay consistent. But a few thoughts that came to mind for me was to make spending time with Him a part of your routine.
100%.
To prioritize your relationship with Him as you do any other relationship. You have to see a relationship with Him, your walk with Him, getting to know Him as a priority, as a relationship that you want to prioritize in your life, work in, and set time out for. So that was some of my thoughts.
Yeah, and for me is surround yourself with Christian friends. That influence in your life is so crucial, and especially like mentors. Going to them, someone that you can be open with, and they can just encourage your walk with Christ. I feel is very good. And then serving and going to church is very important for that walk, and also attending a Bible study or a life group. And I feel like that is so important.
We have to realize that our relationship with Jesus, our relationship with God, will continue to grow, and as it grows, it takes some effort from us to get to know Him more, and if we want to get to know Him more, we have to create time, create spaces, like events, church, Bible study, whatever, where that will happen and where that's a part of our day-to-day living.
Very true. On to the next question. So how to find joy in your everyday life when you don't like your work?
Sure.
I feel like I can speak on this one.
Yes.
Because I have really dealt with this in different situations. I struggled with the work for various reasons. And I feel like if you can change your perspective, you might not be able to change your job at the time, but if you change your perspective, it's so important that you can see your work as a place where you can serve God and others. So that's important. And then to anchor your identity. Your worth doesn't come from your work or your job. It comes from Christ, and that's very important. And then this one is a big one that I felt helped me so much, was to seek purpose beyond your work, or to find joy outside of work. So do activities that bring you joy outside of your work, spend time with people, invest in relationships, hobbies, and do something nice. So your whole life isn't your work. and then stay spiritually nourished. This will help your perspective. And yeah, ask God for strength every day. Yeah, that's kind of
I mean, my thought was just to do it for the glory of God, and to see your workspace as your mission field. That's basically what you said as well, a place where you serve Him, and you are a servant of Him in that space too, and not just the job or the boss or whatever. You really do what you do for Him. So yeah, but it's hard. Hey, it's hard when you're in a constant day-to-day situation where you're really struggling. And I love what you said with how we should anchor our identity and that our worth comes from Christ. And I think the thought that came to mind for me was also that we should really pray and ask Him to be our source of joy and not the job. So yeah, to find our joy in Him and not our careers.
Yeah, that's a biggie.
Yeah. Next one. The next one, it was one of those where we screenshotted the question for each other. We're like, whoa, how are we going to answer this? The difference between virginity and purity. And there was some interesting things that came. The first thought I have, and I think you'll expand on this, was just that virginity is a physical matter, and purity is the issue of the heart. That was the two things.
Yeah, that's how we can differentiate. So the virginity, the physical state, is never having, intercourse, while purity is a heart posture, and a lifestyle that honors God. So especially in our thoughts and our actions and relationships. So virginity can be lost once, but purity can be restored through repentance and God's grace, obviously. So that's quite cool. And Scripture calls all believers, regardless of past sexual history, to live in purity. So for example, in Matthew 5 verse 8, it's blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. And then 1 Corinthians 6 verse 18 is flee from sexual immorality. And then Psalm 51 verse 10 is create in me a clean heart, O God. So it's actually a very good question.
And just to know that even though we differentiate between the two, there can be a direct effect. If you live an immoral lifestyle, you're not going to have a pure heart. So I think that the thing that also just stands out for me is that purity is a lifestyle, to live a lifestyle that honors God, and that we need to know that we need to be careful in the decisions we make, and that we have a responsibility in how we live our lives, and just the decisions we make, to live purely with a pure lifestyle before God.
It was a good question.
It was a good question. It is one that we will probably be able to dive deeper into. But I think the main thoughts on that.
Definitely. Cool. The fourth question is how to stay focused on your purpose when you're always preparing for your future.
Yeah, sure. I think there's so much that we strive for, that we live for, dreams and things like that, and that we can easily in our day-to-day, if there's, for example, if you're studying for a degree, or if you're busy working towards a certain goal, you can easily get caught up in that future goal, in that future dream. But the one thought I had was that in everything we do, we should not get ahead of ourselves. We should not be too future orientated that it takes our eyes off of today. Obviously we have responsibilities, obviously we have things to do that ultimately will be leading to a greater goal, but the Bible speaks on this. And one verse that I was looking at was Proverbs 27 verse 1, that says, do not boast about tomorrow, for you do not know what a day may bring. We do not even know what tomorrow will bring, never mind our future goals or dreams. And then the other very familiar verse is Matthew 6:34. Therefore do not be anxious about tomorrow, for tomorrow will be anxious for itself. Sufficient for the day is its own trouble. So this is more about worries and things like that. But I think it does link to this question in the sense that we have been given strength for today. We've been given capacity for today, and we only know what this day, well, we don't even know what the next hour will hold, but the only thing we can do is walk through moment by moment, doing what we should do, all to the glory of God. Honoring Him, and not to get too ahead of ourselves in our dreams, in our plans for the future, because God holds the future. We can only walk faithfully through what this day holds and what this moment holds. So I think the question, how do you stay focused on your purpose now when you're always preparing for your future, is, I think it's just that, to stay focused on this day and what you have to do now, what's required of you now, and to do that with a joyful heart, to do that with everything in you, and believe and trust that all will work together in the hands of God, that He will bring you where He wants you tomorrow, in 2 years, in whatever years.
100%. I can't agree more.
Yeah.
And also I think, remember that our future on earth, we, is all our goals orientated around just the future on earth. What about our future in heaven?
Exactly.
So I feel like us honoring God in the day-to-day, our focusing on what He's given us today, honors Him, and obviously is in a way working towards that eternity with Him and that future, which is so important, and remember, means so much more than our future on earth. So it's actually more meaningful to live like that, because remember, like, everything on earth is like fleeting.
Exactly. On that, like, I feel like if you're too far in the future with your thoughts and with your goals and with your mind, it almost steals from where you are now. So for example, I remember, so we'll get into more relationship stuff later, but Vian and I dated for a very long time, and there was a point where I was getting so impatient with just like, I wanted to get married to him. I was done with dating. I was like, when are you gonna ask me to marry you? And I was wedding orientated, I was wife orientated, and I think in a way it possibly, and I can't remember just all the detail, but it stole from that dating season of our life almost, because I was just ready to get married. So I think sometimes when you're so with your future goal, your future role in life, it can steal from the season where you are in, the moments you have to live through now. It can steal from that. So there's a quote by Elizabeth Elliot that I loved, and it says, "Today is mine. Tomorrow is none of my business. If I peer anxiously into the fog of the future, I will strain my spiritual eyes so that I will not see clearly what is required of me now."
Wow.
So that was cool. Today is mine. We have today. And let's enjoy it. Let's give it us our all in that sense, and see this day and this moment as the purpose we've been given to live through and to glorify God.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Perfect. Next one.
That's still good, right? It's just
let's check it.
okay. Your favorite family habit was the question. I think we can lean towards traditions as well. What do you think?
So for us, and I think I brought this up in a previous episode, was every year we have a goal setting kind of discussion where we talk about our spiritual, mental and physical, any kind of goals, like even house stuff that we need to do. And we kind of align on that and try and plan for those things and prioritize certain things. Amazing. Even in our relationship. And I really like that, we've implemented that over the past, I think, 2 or 3 years. And it's been really cool to look back on and see, have we done that?
Sure.
Have we all stuck to like praying every day together? Or, so that's kind of
That's very cool. That's
yeah,
special.
yeah.
That's a special commitment to have each year to set out your goals together.
Yeah.
I think for me, it's more almost the daily things. I love, we go on plenty of walks. I love that. That's always a highlight. Having our meals together, just Vian and me and Ilya, and those type of daily things that we've implemented, that's very special and that's meaningful for us as a family. And just our prayer times together is also, I think, some of those habits, daily habits that I love and that I look back on. And I think I can also see how it shapes Elian in that sense, like those habits shaping him and how it's good for his little forming heart as well.
I'd actually love to hear from our listeners
Yeah.
what their favorite, family habits are, out of interest, actually.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to hear from other people.
Yeah.
So please share with us.
Yeah. Number 6.
This one is a good one.
Yes.
How to keep adult friendships going when you are going through a difficult season. I think we can both talk on this.
Yeah. And I think like adult friendships has a whole different dynamic than high school friendships, school friendships, university friendships. So it's definitely a hard one. It's a hard one to navigate. I feel like for me, one of the main things is to do what you can to stay connected. In your hard season, it's not always, you don't have the capacity, it's not always easy just to go out or do stuff, but to do what you can to stay connected with those special people in your life from your side, to still keep doing that, that put in that effort from your side, and to be honest.
That is my point, is to be honest with them,
with where you're at, to say like, I am struggling, this is what I'm going through, this is what's possible for me in this season, know where I am at.
I feel like my friends that know me, where I take like a week to respond to a WhatsApp and they couldn't be bothered, and I could kind of give them that grace as well, where I'm like, listen, you don't ever have to respond to me, I will never be offended. But just having those type of friends that like know that you're not ignoring them, you just feel overwhelmed right now and you feel like you can't always just respond or have these deep conversations on WhatsApp. So just to have those friends that still check on you and you can kind of respond when you're able to, I feel like just having those type of friends that understand where you're at is so important, because it does strengthen those relationships. And we have to remember that when you're going through a tough time, I feel like it is easy to just stay away and withdraw. But being vulnerable with those people where you feel like you can be vulnerable, not everyone is receptive, and that almost strengthens your relationship, being vulnerable with them. So
I think one thing, just walking through our hard season when I was really struggling, important thing for me was to sift a bit, to know, okay, I cannot just like, I am limited in my capacity, I'm limited in what I can do, where I can go or whatever, and to really disconnect in areas where you have to disconnect. So for example, for me it was important in some seasons to disconnect from online conversations, to disconnect from having the feeling of, I need to respond on Instagram, I need to respond on Facebook or wherever, to disconnect certain areas so that you can connect in a better quality, in a better way, with the friendships that really is your friendships, the real relationships in life. So to sift a bit, to disconnect where you need to disconnect so that you can connect better with the people you are walking through this journey together with.
That's good advice. That's good.
Also, the other thing I was just thinking is with adult friendships, and if you're in a hard season, even if it's just a season of having young kids and it's hard to have a braai or whatever, even if you're just in that season, to find or create easy ways to connect. Like a easy way to connect with your friends might be in church. So to attend church, an easy way to connect with your community, or another easy way to connect can be a Bible study group. Those easy ways to have that meeting places where you can see each other, connect with each other, that you don't have to go and organize and host a whole braai at your house or whatever. To find ways that can be easy in your adult lifestyle to connect. Yeah,
I love that. Thank you.
Yeah. Friendships, again with friendships, in the in-between seasons where some are married, some aren't. I want to throw into this mix, some have kids, some don't. And I think what's cool with our friendship is like, our whole group is we are a mixed group of friends. Some are married, some aren't. Some have kids, some don't. Like, we are a mixed group of friends. So to speak into that, it is harder, I think, in a way where you have to, it's not just, everybody can't do everything. Like, for example, I'm speaking from a bit of a different perspective from our side, but I think some places it's harder to take kids, maybe some that aren't. When you're a couple, you tend to go with the couple. So I think it is harder when the dynamic is a bit different between different groups. But what I was just thinking, the thought that came to mind for me was keep on inviting. Keep on including, even if the person with the kid can't, you know it might be hard for them, just keep on inviting. Even if there is 3 couples and one person won't be a part of a couple, keep on inviting the single person, keep on including, and let them make the decision if they want to come with their kid or not, if they want to be a part of the couple group or not. For even if it's like a different seasons of life, just keep on including. That was a thought.
I love that. I feel like I know a couple that are they're amazing with doing that with the single people in our church. They actually, I would consider them family. They don't have kids of their own, but they always reach out to those people that are single and make time for them and have a braai. And you know, I feel like just putting an effort, and not just with the people that you are in the same stage of life. I feel like it's so important, because you can learn something from them, they can learn something from you. We don't have kids at the moment, but we learn from you in a sense. And you're there for us, which is amazing. And I feel like don't leave the people that are maybe in a different season of life, like you say, like make an effort with that friend that is single, or that person that has a kid, because relationships are important, and it's always good to not just stay in your comfort zone, because I feel like, this is just my observation, that when you have kids and you have friends with kids, I feel like the conversation can just be about the kids, and like you don't get like, how are you? How's your walk with Christ? Or you don't get into the meat sometimes. So it's good to have those friends that don't have the kids, or around to help with the conversation.
Exactly. And I think the other thing that was just coming to mind for me now is how, from our side, how we appreciate our friends knowing that sometimes we can't come to them and they coming to us. So I think when you have friends that have a different situation than you or whatever, to really also again just be honest and be like, okay, so like, how can we make this friendship work? How can we meet each other halfway and still meet up, still see each other, even if we're in different seasons, even if our challenges are different or our day-to-day are different? How can we just keep on connecting and do that? So one of the things is we often say, like, Karen has like a permanent code to enter our gates, because she knows it's not always as easy for me to go wherever.
But I mean, Iliam he's in his space, he has his toys, and he likes coming over here, but I mean, like, he's more comfortable, and I love coming to you.
So those things of just seeing what works and making that effort to include each other and to keep on inviting.
Question 8. Okay, I will ask this question. Was there a time in your relationship where you or your partner were unsure about the other? if you were, meant to be?
Yeah.
If so, what then?
Yeah, so I can speak on on this just because, and I think we'll expand on our relationship stories. I think in a whole different episode or a whole different series almost.
I think we should have a relationship series.
Yeah. Because interestingly enough, we have very opposite stories.
Yeah.
But just from our side, Vian and I started dating in high school. So we dated for a very long time before we eventually got married, which we got married young, actually still. But from 16, it's a long time to get to the place where you are getting married. But we actually broke up in our matric year. We broke up. And I'm not going to speak for Vian, but I think I always knew that he's someone I want to marry. He's the guy that I want to marry, and I can see a future with him. But we were so young, and there was still so much in ourselves to walk through, to figure out, just to get to learn and know about life in general and our relationship with God. So I think there was definitely a time where we had to break up. I had to find my identity in Christ and not in Vian, not in our relationship, and that was so good for us. The breakup was so good for us. So just from our perspective, in that time where we were unsure, we knew, we were actually in a place where we took the break, walked our own unique journeys, and then when we got back together, we knew there was no more uncertainty for us. We knew we chose each other, still young, still had to walk through a few things, but we chose each other, and we told each other that. But I think when you're unsure, I'm not saying everybody should take a break and break up, but seek counsel. Let the word of God guide you in how does a spouse, like the role of husband, wife, how to choose a good spouse. I mean, the Bible speaks on that. Be evenly yoked in your choice of spouse. So let the word guide you. Let that speak into your relationship, and have people, Christian people, believers, older than you, ahead of you in their relationship journey, to speak into your relationship and really help you in that.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
For me, with a previous relationship, I felt like I always knew that, there's something not right here. There were red flags, and I felt like, you want your person to really bring you towards Christ and not take you away and distance yourself from him. And I always knew, and I had people telling me, and I didn't listen for a very long time. And after a while, I came to my senses, in a sense, and I was like, okay, Lord, I am going to obey you. And that we broke it off. But then a couple of months later, he actually reached out again. And I was like, I actually looked at the message and I was like, no, I'm not going to entertain this message, because it always kind of like goes back to, okay, we're going to go get back together or whatever. And I was like, no, I'm going to obey you.
Sure.
And I'm not going to respond. And I literally met Adrian 2 weeks later.
Sure.
And we knew that we were meant to be together.
Sure.
And I had written out a list of things, not like looks wise, but qualities that I would love in a husband, involved in a church, blah, 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 blah. And Adrian met all of those things. So again, we're both not perfect.
Yeah.
And there's things that we work on, but I feel, again, seek counsel, like you say, and then definitely pray. And your measure is the Bible, know, and that's very important. So you do know deep down inside whether something's not right.
Exactly.
And I feel like if there is something bothering you, definitely pray about it and action it, because you don't want to be in a relationship. I'm talking about boyfriend and girlfriend for a very long time, and it's just not what God wants.
And also not to think that marriage will fix the problems, or marriage will fix the things that's not right in the relationship. If there's things not right in the relationship, the chances are it will be highlighted almost as in your marriage. And so to not think that, oh no, this will be fine when I get married, but to really know that marriage is a lifelong commitment, and things you have to be sure, and you have to walk this journey with the Lord, and with good guidance in that too.
Love that.
Okay, what to do when you only have one church option in your area or small town, and your husband does not want to go where you want to go? Do you then go alone? Ooh. Yeah, it depends for me. There's like, does he not want to go because he does not want to go to church in general, or does he not want to go because the church just does not align with what he believes to be true?
Yeah.
So there's like that. It's hard to answer that for me in that sense. If he does not want to go because he does not want to go to church in general, I would say then you can go alone and prioritize your relationship with God and worship Him and go to church, get that community. But if your husband does not want to go because he does not believe that the church you have as an option aligns with the truth and with what you guys believe, then I feel like, then you both need to be on the same side with that. I don't know. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, so I would definitely pray about it. Firstly, and you don't want to disrespect your husband. So I feel like if it's a situation where he just doesn't want to go to church, respectfully say, listen, I'm going to go by myself if that's fine. You can stay here, and don't make it a fight every week. And just go. And pray for his heart. And then, or you can make it into a team effort where we, let's problem solve. Let's try and find a good church. Or do a Bible study together. But I do feel like it's important that you get involved in a church and be surrounded by a Christian community. But try and see how you can solve the problem together. And don't disrespect each other or on the issue. I feel like we can easily do that. You don't agree with me, and that's never good.
No. No. And I think I think to stay loving in your just your thoughts on that whole issue, and to honor each other in that. This is what I was wanting to say. You really have the ability to have a good influence on your husband. If for instance, if he just does not want to go to church or really pursue a relationship with the Lord, you and how you approach that situation can actually have a very amazing influence on him when done in a loving and God-honoring way. So staying respectful in your relationship as well is massive.
100%.
Yeah, sure. Pray. I feel like all of these questions, the answer is pray.
The next question is, Chrissy, this is actually for you.
Yes.
Ilian's school plans for the future.
Will this be the most controversial?
I'd love to hear your thoughts, because I know the answer.
I am planning on homeschooling him. We are formally going to start following a curriculum in the year that he turns 6. So we're still a while away from it.
I mean, this kid is learning a lot already.
So I'm excited for that. We're not there yet. I keep telling everybody, all he knows now, he didn't get from me. I didn't. It's all the Lord. So it's like the foundation is being laid, and it's not me. But no, I'm planning on homeschooling. I'm not worried about his social development. I feel like that's just something that we will also leave in the hands of God. We do put in effort to have friends, to have community for him. So I'm not really worried about that. I bring it up because that's the first question I always get when I tell people I'm going to homeschool him. They're like, oh, shame. Like, how is he going to be developing socially? But also just trusting the Lord with that. He's been very shy up until this point, but all of a sudden, because I was getting a bit worried. I'm like, oh, the people are now going to be more on my case about having him surrounded by people because he's so shy. And I really just, it became something that I prayed about, and really just praying for him to come out of his shell a bit. And it's so cool how the Lord is answering that prayer.
Yeah.
So I'm not worried about his social development. I know the Lord will take care of that too, and he will bring the right friends and the right people for Elian into our lives. So we're trusting with that. But yeah, homeschooling.
Cool. That's
Excited.
exciting.
Yeah.
Okay.
How can we trust God deeper in times of uncertainty?
Listen to episode 7.
And that's your episode, eh?
It's my entire episode where things are still uncertain for me, and we go into that. I think it's episode 7 and 8. And basically, if I were to summarize it, is that know that God is a good God and that He's in control. And if we submit to that and surrender our life to Him, we can know that in the uncertainty, He is certain, He loves us, and we don't have to worry about that uncertainty, and we can just surrender control to Him. So that's like very, I feel like summarized, and it's a daily thing. It's not something that I have got under control.
Yeah, sure.
We just have to acknowledge that He's in control.
And I think what encourages me is He does not change. So even though our situations change, and even though we are in seasons of uncertainty, we have a God in who we can be we can have certainty in Him,
100%.
because He does not change. He does not go with the seasons. He's constant. He's the same today, tomorrow, yesterday, whenever, and all knowing. So His promises, we can trust in His promises. We can remember His promises. And also the other thought I had was, remember what He's done. Sometimes we are caught in this moment, but to remember where He's brought you from. Not just in your life, but also what He's done in history past with Israelites, in the Bible, all the stories. Remember what He's done, and just to focus on Him, and that is a good God. Okay.
Ooh. In-law relationship advice. How to honor your in-laws when not agreeing.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so I mean, I've actually listened to a few podcasts on it, and I think in books it's come up, and had conversations with people about this before, where they say, you and your husband are a team, and you kind of tackle the problem together if there is a problem. And at the end of the day, you need to remember that, it's either, it's his parents or your parents, and you need to respect them regardless. But you can set healthy boundaries. Definitely, you can voice your opinion in a loving way. Sometimes it's not worth even voicing the opinion, but I feel like if, you're the spouse that's struggling, and your husband, it's his parents, I feel like him really understanding your viewpoint makes a huge difference. And then also dealing with it together, and kind of tackling it together. The team thing is so important. And don't let it become a problem in your relationship. That's another point.
I think I think you can only bring up an issue like this a number of times, and then you have to surrender it. Then you have to be like, okay, Lord, I've tried to approach this or talk about it or get on the same side as my husband, but things are just not happening. So now I have to surrender it and give it into your hands. And now instead of me talking to him about it, I'm going to start talking to you about it, to God, and ask you to bring in the necessary change to speak into his heart in where I stand and what I'm going through in this dynamic of different relationships. And I think then it becomes a situation, if it's not changing, if he's not hearing, if there's really conflict or whatever there is, I don't know, but if nothing is changing or getting better, then this might then become a situation where you have to pick up your cross and be like, okay, this is hard for me. This is something I wished would have been different, but it's not changing. So I have to now pick up my cross and stay loving, stay honoring, stay submissive, and leave it in the hands of the Lord.
It's easier said than
Oh
done.
my goodness. Yeah. Okay, Karen, have you and Adrian grown closer through the loss of your pregnancies?
Definitely.
Sure.
Yeah. I feel like he, with the whole, miscarriage, I actually had quite a lot of trauma, after that. That happened after every month afterwards, and he knows how to calm me down.
Yeah.
He knows where my head goes straight away, and he's able to really be there for me.
Sure.
So I feel like, yeah, I've had to rely on him, and I'm grateful that he's been there for me. So
Sure.
it's definitely deepened our relationship. I mean, we've both been through something really hectic that makes you rely on the Lord more and each other. So yeah, I think it's gotten stronger.
Wow.
So yeah, that's all I can say.
Yeah,
Definitely
yeah.
yes. I'm grateful, and I praise the Lord that it hasn't had the opposite effect.
Yeah.
Because that is so. It can happen. I mean,
It can go either way. So,
especially if you. Ooh, this one's a fun one. Yeah, will Vian and Adrian ever be invited onto the podcast?
The invite has been sent. We are waiting for it to be accepted.
I think we're going to. I think we're going to have them on.
I've been working on telling Vian every now and again, when are you opening a spot in your Google Calendar that I can book?
I think we're going to do it.
Yes.
And
Maybe part of our relationship.
Yeah.
Future
Because
series.
you always need to hear from the other side. Can't just be one
No.
sided. Okay. Ooh, this one's for you, Chrissy.
Oh.
Chrissy, will you and Vian be open to having another child the older Elian gets? Ooh.
This is also one of those questions that I get a lot.
Yeah.
Not just by close people, but by random strangers, just being like, is he your only child? Why is he your only child? Will you have more children?
I don't think I've ever asked you that.
Oh, I think you know my...
Yeah, I do, but I don't know.
You have a bit more
Interesting.
detail into our day-to-day
True.
that
Yeah.
I think you understand more,
Yeah.
and that maybe will help with the answer. Is it's complicated. It's a complicated thing that we've been sitting with for a couple of years now. But we've kind of moved in a direction, and the short answer is no, we don't want more children. I can expand quite a bit, but what I do want to say is our day-to-day, what I share on social media, what I share and talk about in all the things that I share really is just a snippet of our day-to-day, and it's especially just a snippet of my day-to-day. So we both, Vian and I, have much peace about this decision. So we really we're not sad about it. We're not mourning the having more children or the possibility of more children or whatever. We really have so much peace about this decision, and we just feel like for our setup, for the fact that I want Elian to get my all my focus, to have my attention, we've made the decision of just having him and pouring into him. I had a Tani tell me that it's not healthy to put all my focus on him, but it is what it is. Hey,
When you say day to day, if we can expand just a little bit, but you mean you are caring for Elian, he has therapies, he has a lot that you do for him, and I think it's just so beautiful that you do that for him, and
and then the other thing I was just wanting to say with that is we are open for the Lord changing our hearts. I just want to put that in. I don't want to just say no, and that's where we stand now. We do have peace about his decision, but I'm also open to the Lord speaking into and changing my heart. I don't want to take anything into my hands in that sense. Interesting fact, as I thought about this and as we've walked through this topic over time, in the Bible, just for interest, Sarah that had Abraham, Ruth that was in the lineage of Jesus eventually, Elizabeth that had John the Baptist, and also Samson's mom. There might be more, but these are just a few. They only had one child. All of them only had one child. Not saying that it's something significant to just have one child, but what I am wanting to say is our worth as women aren't determined by the amount of children we have, and that the only thing we are called to do and that we can do is to be good stewards of what the Lord has entrusted to us. If it's one child, if it's many children, if it's no children, we have to be good stewards of what He gives us, and He has given us Elian, and I want to be a good steward of Elian. And for now, how it makes sense for me is to have him as my only child. So yeah, we have
and he is one blessed boy to have you as his mom. No, I'm not just saying that. He really is.
Thank you. Okay, for both of us, for what we have gone through, you with your journey, us with our journey, how has it changed our friendships?
Well, I feel like for our friendship, it is like we are bonded for life. We just have a way of understanding each other. Like, you get me, I get you.
Without even having to say too much.
No,
the bond has
my word
taken another level of depth. That's the one side. But I think then on the other side, there can be, in certain friendships or relationships, there can be a divide.
Yeah, it actually, going through something or, can, highlight maybe the superficial nature of some of the friendships. And sometimes the people in your life, they don't understand. They don't want to understand. They make certain comments that can come across really offensive,
insensitive,
insensitive, and then it's kind of like it naturally changes those relationships because you kind of like distance yourself from those people, not because you want to, but because just it happens, unfortunately.
No, definitely. I think speaking from our journey, I those first years was so hard for me in relationship wise. I really struggled, but it's also interesting for me how with the years you kind of grow used to just that divide. You grow used to things, your situation being different. Like for us now, in the first years, it was really hard for me to be in conversations where people had a normal journey and I had such a different journey. So for me to actually connect and to relate to people was so hard, especially in that early years. But now I'm kind of used to that. I'm kind of used to not having those connections, not having those relatable pregnancy conversations or childhood conversations. I'm so used to that almost became the normal in my relationships that I'm not so aware of it anymore. It's kind of like it is what it is. We continue on with life. So I think especially in that very sensitive, very early years when you're walking through something, those the things that's different, the things that's hard to face, the insensitive comments, because even that I feel like I've grown used to. I'm like, I know these comments.
Like, you should be my friend. You should know not to say that to me. But anyway,
but
the Lord is working.
There's grace in that where you kind of your buffer. Buffer is a buffer an English word? Like you have that a bumper. Bumper, like your bumper is like it just bounces back almost. You a thicker skin. Your skin grows thicker almost for those situations. For me, speaking just of my experience.
Definitely. I mean, when Adrian and I had this conversation, we were like, we've been through like this journey, and and the blessing that has come out of it is our relationship with you and Vian. Just having you guys in our life, and we're just so grateful that the Lord you know, has allowed us to walk this journey in this way so that we can connect with you. There can be a blessing to, you know, deepen your relationships with people.
Because we've spoken about this topic, is as soon as you go through something hard, your heart softens for others going through something hard too. So you're just immediately like, you have that understanding of, oh, I know it's complicated. I know there's a lot of layers behind your heart, behind our conversations, behind our thoughts, and that's the connection of the Lord took us through these journeys, but one of the gifts is then these relationships where we have that understanding, we have that depth, and that's just so much grace in that.
So the last question that we have today is how to maintain a Christian community in a country where Christian churches are not allowed. This is quite a hectic
situation to be in. We actually got a lot of questions regarding churches. So I think, again, a future episode on churches and choosing your church and just all these questions maybe. But I think one thought, you spoke about it almost earlier as well, is when you have an issue with a community or not having community or whatever, take matters into your hands and start, even if it's just a home group, a home cell group, start something. There is a lot of cool YouTube videos online that you can follow for if you don't have a preacher or whatever, but start something. Take initiative, do something about the situation. If there's not a church, do it in your home or something like that.
Awesome.
Yes.
So thanks for listening to this very different episode. We had so much fun.
That was fun.
Answering them. A lot of them, made me think quite a lot, which I love. And I feel like we have to do this again.
Yes.
We hope, let us know if you enjoyed this type of episode.
And just like, maybe we can do more focused Q&As also. Again, the relationship one might be a whole Q&A.
Oh, that's going to be good.
In itself.
Maybe with the guys.
That would be.
Sounds good. We'd love to hear your thoughts on this episode. So please connect with us on Instagram at the With.Purpose podcast, and let's keep this conversation going. And if you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to hit the follow button, like it if you're on YouTube, and subscribe and leave us a review. It really, really helps our podcast. We love reading your reviews as well, and share it with a friend who needs this encouragement. And remember, every day is an opportunity to live with purpose
and to the glory of God.